Well, hello. This is Happy Valley Hobbies, and these are hobbies that make me happy. Seems that Dan from the Model Railroading's Journey has got the cookie for this evening. Um, uh, and there's Mr. Andy from across the pond. Uh, is in second. Uh, I just recently found out that there's a difference between Merry Christmas and uh, Happy Christmas. Um, there's not that much of a difference, but from my understanding, the main difference between a Happy Christmas and a Merry Christmas is pretty much. Hello there, Caboose 173, Channel 1. Gentleman that I met at the Great Train, the Great Train Extravaganza, and also Randall Ellison. Thank you for coming in. Apparently, from my understanding, that Merry Christmas is Happy Christmas with alcohol, and I guess uh, I honestly don't know, Andy. I do not know how much alcohol is required to be married. But I was surprised to find out that. I guess they were interchangeably used for the longest time, and then I guess hello there, Wigwag. From my understanding, not much. Yeah, I don't drink that much, so when alcohol is involved, I'm uh, usually not that much alcohol gets me drunk. Oh, that's good to know, Caboose. Um, yeah, it's one of those things that you really know. You sort of really know somebody if you know not only their YouTube channel name but also their actual name. It takes me a while to get there. Um, and there's Valleys 56. Thank you for coming in. Well, Wigwag wants to know how the job is doing. Well, it's I well, I'll find out February if I'm going to be transferred over from a temp employee to a real employee. Um, and right now, unless I do something extremely stupid, I don't think I get the impression that it's going to be yes. Basically, it's like, ooh, you're doing your best, and you're there, and you're there when you're scheduled. So it's one of those things of there's a lot of times that there are people that they get hired and they're calling it, oh, something came up and all this, all these things of they're constantly not there and yet expect to be paid when they're not there. Don't know. Out of all the thing is with I'm in the finishing department, and that is something where there's a lot of unlike the molding department, which I started in. It's like, okay, you're molding. It's like you're babysitting a machine that's spitting out parts. With the finishing, you can be doing things like masking things for painting, taking the mask off after painting, inserting small little brass inserts into the plastic so you have something to screw onto, operating CNC machines that cut off little sections and all that make things a little bit easier. Plus, when they're molded, sometimes there's a hole that has to be on this side, um, uh, uh, which because it can't be molded that way. Um, then there's one where they add like an insulation foam to it, and then after the foam has been solidified, then you have to sand it down so it all has that. I haven't done the foam part of it, but I've done the sanding part of the foam. And hello there, Dave, BNSF N Scale. Merry Christmas to you also. And it's an easy job, but that foam goes all. Yes, it is full time, Wigwag. It is second shift though, so that's why you probably haven't been seeing me on the weekday streams, because I'm working at that time. But yeah, the sanding part is like the foam, the sanded foam gets everywhere. I mean, it's it's worse than glitter. And normally, being in the service, I'm used to cleaning up in the morning. But since the foam is all over the place, I get home, right into the shower, trying to get much of the crap off of me as possible, then go to bed. So far, that's the only what I would have to say. That's the only job so far that's the most annoying one, because there's posts. When I get home, I still have to deal with it. But other than that, it looks like they have been sanding parts one where it's basically I'm by myself, but for the majority of the time. So it looks like they trust me enough to be by myself and still chug along. So that, I think, is a good sign. However, for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be interesting, because they actually turn around and they, from what I understand, they close the plant. The plant's 24/7, but there are times that they do shut down completely. Like for Thanksgiving, it was they wound up closing the plant down. Well, there's more than one plant, and I'm assuming that they do the same thing with the other plants. Which for Thanksgiving, second shift, they closed down, and they wound up reopen third shift, pretty much the next day after they start. They always saying it was. Yeah, they started. Well, technically, it's Sunday evening, which is 11 o'clock, which is okay. They got one. There's one day over. It looks like with Christmas and New Year's, they don't do that. They actually stop on the first end. Oh, hello there, James. Thank you for coming in. They stop after the first one, or first shift. So I actually get Tuesday and Wednesday off. However, I don't get paid. It's like there's only one holiday, so I don't get paid for both days. So I was given the opportunity to catch up on it, and instead of I didn't know quite what my options were. Probably next year have a better understanding exactly what my options are. But tomorrow and the next Monday, I'm working a 12-hour shift. I'm, uh, they did say I could also pick up another half a day on Thursday and Friday, but my thought process was at least do one 12-hour shift per week, and I only lose half a day instead of the full day. So it's going to be interesting. So I'll be working 11 to 11. Um, and also first time working with the first shift manager, which yeah, pretty much a manager is a manager. They do their best, and I get the impression that the first shift manager has been there a little bit longer, and there's well, from now this is my understanding is that each shift is different. The first shift, everything's open. It's like everything, every machine or whatever needs to be done. Everything is being run. Second shift, things are run, but they're not, except for the molding department. The molding department's going 24/7, go, 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 go. But there's also the painting department and the finishing department. And during, I want to say during second shift, they're not running at full tilt with finishing and painting. And then, from what I understand, third shift is just molding. So the finishing department and the painting department, they actually shut down for the evening. And so that's how second shift. That's at the plant that I'm at. When I was working at the main headquarters, I was working in the what they call orthopedics division, and that didn't have a second or third shift. So that's why I'm slightly confused with what I'm doing at this one because of that. But it's not the hardest job I've ever had. Far from the most dangerous job I've ever done. Okay, no trip today. All right. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing on Tuesday or Wednesday. Mainly because I don't have. It was a combination of, well, my mother passing away in 2016 and moving to Vermont just before the pandemic. Wigwag, I would have to say it's an okay job. It's not the top 10 favorite. I do get along with most of my coworkers, which is always a good thing. But it's one of those things. I have electronics degree, and I'm except for the equipment itself, I'm not touching electronics. So I could. There's a lot of times that if I didn't have a fear of heights, I could be making a lot of more money right now. I mean, cell phone tower technician, security installer. It's like all these things that everything's way up in the air. Even as a signal maintainer for the Vermont Railway, I could do also, but again, that requires getting up on top of things that are very high in the air, and in some cases, you're also out in the weather. When I was younger, I would have to say didn't mind it, but now I'm at an age going like, I like being indoors. There is one job I would like to get back into. It was a company that I jokingly say we had to think outside the box because we were building the box that everyone had to think inside of, and that was a company that makes automation equipment. Uh, yeah, all right. Now, if I'm understanding correctly, that was your son this morning, correct, Andy? Um, but yeah, I am trying. I'm doing my best to stay up on electronics. Um, One of the things I want to see about doing, I got a bunch of Raspberry Pis to play around with and get them working. Trying to do my best to learn how Linux works. I'm getting my assumption is that the operating systems are sure almost like I almost want to say like cars. They're all they have the base. Every car has the basics. It's like, okay, it has a way to propel itself. It has brakes, steering. Everything else is sort of like trappings. Well, thank you for coming in, Caboose, and see you around. So my assumption is I mean I've had used the Raspberry Pi before, so I have I've used it, and that's sort of like okay, it's like I didn't see anything that was massively changing. Basically, the first time I used Linux, it was before they had GUIs and stuff like that. So it's like, oh, it's a command line. Done DOS before. It's one of those things I need to learn what the differences are. And that's one of the I guess my challenge is like, what are the differences? Why some people love Linux and all that. Yeah, I would have to say, Andy, that that is true. Also, the respective height also did wind up, saving not only possibly saved my own life, but also life of 2 other people. Yeah, there's definitely useful little machines. Especially one thing I like about the Pis. This is a Pi Zero. Is that they have general input-output pins. I've used Arduinos. I've made a couple of things with them, and it's it makes your knees shake sometimes. I remember the only time that I've actually been to a baseball game. We wound up getting the nosebleed seats, and I was with a friend of mine, and it's when I also discovered that interstates can have exits on the in the median. It's like we're driving, and this was before GPS, and it's like we're heading for Shea Stadium, and all of a sudden I'm like, why do I have a feeling I'm going to see a sign, a sign that says "Welcome to Connecticut," and we pulled over and found out that yes, we were heading for Connecticut because I got off a exit that was on the median side, uh, and from there, we got there and we got to the seats. We sat down, and my friend says, it's like, hey, it's like, it's this building's perfectly safe. You don't have to be worried about it and all that. This is, I know that, you know that. Tell my shaking body that. I mean, I'm just like, complete, I'm shaking all over the place, trying to calm myself down. By the end of the game, though, I was no longer shaking. I was still, tense, but I had stopped shaking. And yep, and that's one of those things of there's been a couple of times that one time, oh, I forgot the reason why, but I had to go onto the roof of the trailer I was living in to fix something with the antenna or something like that. And my father at that point didn't feel that he was, hey, you're a young guy, you go up there. And I remember getting up there and going up on there, I had no problem. It was trying to get back down because when you're going up, you're looking up, so you're not really paying attention how far you're off the ground. But when you're trying to, get off the roof, you have to look down to know where you put your feet are. And I think they were this close to calling the paramedics or police or somebody to rescue me. But eventually I just got like, I need to get down. And there's a lot of places that I wound up doing something like that. But speaking of gibbering messages, I'm not sure who's doing Sidetrack Sunday, because I'm not used to the new schedule at this point. And YouTube did not pop up with something that gave me a suggestion. All right. All right, let's see. All right, well, Mr. Bricktober is live at this point in time. But I would have to say, I don't really watch Mr. Bricktober because, it's large scale. I mean, it's not the... Yeah, pretty much. It was getting back onto the ladder that was the most I had the hardest time to let's see. Well, I click live and it says what's live now. It doesn't give a future live stuff, which is annoying. So I don't know who's doing Sidetrack Sunday. Oh, was it? Let's see. Oh, and this is also a fifth week. So, don't know. Well, let's clear all the notifications. So, yeah, and also another thing that bothers me is that if the ladder or what I'm on is shaky, that that sets off all sorts of alarm bells. Like, this is not safe. I need to get off. I did wind up for a short time work for Sperry Rail Service, and most of the stuff we were doing with the track and all that, but every now and then the track goes over trestles and bridges. thankfully, I never had to get out while we were on a bridge. Um, I do remember one time where I was on the Northeast Corridor, and I'm in the back, protecting the rear. And I remember we're going this one section and we're going higher and higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, where is that? Yeah, it's like, I didn't think trains could get this high. It's like, what is going on? Then all of a sudden we're going over the main bridge. And then all of a sudden it dawned on, I'm looking at, and I'm looking at the bridge and all that. And about halfway across the bridge, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm in the middle of a Lionel train set? And it was the Hellgate Bridge. So I'm like going, oh, this is what the bridge looks like. But it's one of those things of, let me switch cameras. And we will actually do some work today. Iron Horse Brian tonight for Sidetrack. Okay, this must be one of the couple of the new people I'm not aware of. Well, let's switch seating positions. All right. All right, now let's turn the phone back on. Okay, it's odd that it's going that way. It's odd that it's okay. Turn that off. Now we got the live chat in front of me instead of. Let's see what would work better, this way or that way. No. All right, so still trying to figuring out how to optimize stuff. Let's put that there. All right. Well, thank you, Dave and James, for telling me who's on tonight. Now, let's put this one out of the way. We don't need that particular one. All right. Now, one thing I'm going to do is snag that wheel off of this one, so at least all the drivers will be the same color. Another thing I'm going to do is, right now I have like all the parts in these small little bins. My thought process is change them so they're more in a more useful area. Mainly because now that keeping them in individual boxes was great when trying to keep the parts of a locomotive made sense, but now that I'm turning locomotives into parts, it's probably more an advantageous idea is to put them into a parts bin. So I got from Aldi's. They were having a seasonal thing with drawer organizers, and this is what it looks like. It won't fit in the picture frame or camera frame because, well, it's pretty large. I already have two of these. One has plastic parts in it, and the other one is metal parts. But now I'm going to see about making one of these into, just for locomotive parts. Oh, it's upside down. But yeah, it's basically one of these things. I guess they were having them every once a year. And it looks like some of the boxes might be a little bit too small for what I'm aiming for. Mainly the frame and the boiler. Everything else, I think we can actually turn around and put them in a actual full box. So let me that. And also, not only for parts bin for this style of locomotive, but I got a whole bunch of Mantua Generals. Let's see, the poker Bachler. Also, the older style River Rossi Americans, and so it's basically starting to put parts in the bins and all that. Oh, and PK and W is next week. All right. So yeah, it looks like I might be able to put, well, a tender in a box. But Ashley just thought of something. I wound up exploring last Saturday and found a couple of new hobby stores. One was it's called Grant State Hobbies. I forgot the name of the town that it's in, but since I go to Milepost Hobbies, which is just above Amsterdam, New York, that's about an hour and a half away. So my thought process is like, what happens if I go an hour and a half the other direction? And I came across two, as far as I know right now, two different two more hobby stores. Granite State Hobbies is where it's a hobby store that's slowly becoming more and more RC cars, mainly because, well, that's what they're seeing what hobbies are going for. And Claremont, New Hampshire, that's where they're at. But yeah, I wound up getting more of the 36-inch style cars and all that. I also got this one, which is a little bit longer, but at the same time, not much longer. But not many people are doing my era, so all right. Thank you, James, for putting that link down. It's definitely a team effort. The other place, which is in Keene, New Hampshire, that is called Toy City, which it looks like it's originally part of a. Well, it's in a one of the, it's in a strip mall, and I want to say it's a yeah, it's 36. I believe these are 30, and the AHM I think is a 36. Modeling 1876. You know, most of the stuff is smaller, but they were I think they were getting into, they were starting the 36s at this time. But Toy City, their train section is I want to say all new stuff. They don't really have anything that's older stuff like this. Plus, they also have things that I never seen hobby stores have, like baby cribs and things for, you know. I want to say 1/3 of the store is dedicated to babies. Cribs, strollers, you know, things that you would have for kids, not necessarily toys. But they did have toys. They had a lot of STEM stuff also for people who want their kids to learn stuff. There was one aisle that had to do with models, you know, regular plastic models. And there was also one that one of the interesting things is that they did have a bunch of stuff for wargaming, which included wargaming scenery. And so it's one of those things of, because of this store, I think my scenery options had been opened up and all that. So that's for, you know, once I start scening this railroad that I've been using as a workbench, that's probably gonna, you know, make things a lot interesting and prettier. So that's one that I'm the most happy of discovering. Granite City, yes, it's nice, but at the same time, that might be a once a year thing, because even though they do have somebody there that does older stuff and all that, not many people are doing 1800s. So I think I cleaned, those 4 cars. I think I cleaned them completely out of everything that had 1800s on it. Toy City actually had it had a new Bachmann 480, but my thought process is I don't really need that yet. All right, let's see. Yeah. Yep. It's one of the interesting things is that one thing that actually is very close to me is an art shop. So it's one of those things of I've been trying to find classes on how to do landscape paintings, because that's what pretty much that's what the backdrop basically is. And I haven't found a teacher yet, but that's where I'm planning on going with that. All right, now let's see, we got that one. Oh, that one. Put it down. Yeah, I got plenty of black wheels, but I think that might be a off-camera thing, because I don't think anyone's going to want to watch me parts. But all right, let's disassemble this one. Of course, that requires me to find oh. Okay, my plans are being interrupted with my poor tool skill or school, yeah, poor tool setup. Was I had thought I left the nut driver underneath this, but I do not see it under here. Let's see if I can do this without. Okay. All right. Looks like a good day, or afterwards, a good day to turn around and actually reorganize stuff. That there, that there. All right. Sort of a swing and a miss. Oh. Well. It looks like my camera or my clock requires a new battery because it's stuck at 2 o'clock and it's nowhere near 2 o'clock. So I cannot rely on that one. Because I was looking at the clock going like, oh, it's almost time over anyway, but it is not. Oh, hello there, Rail Artist. Thank you for coming in. Ooh, backdrop painting styles. Interesting. I will definitely have to, remind myself to keep an eye out on that. But wait. Aha, that's where you're hiding. All right. Now, right now, it's probably need to find a new source for tires. Let's go this direction for now. Because right now, especially since I want no blind drivers, because this is these have blind drivers on them. It basically requires 3 separate wheels or 3 separate locomotives to require enough wheels to do 1 locomotive. And that's something that I want to change. Right, let's take that off. Because the way these are set up on the insulated side is that you have, this is just a regular normal wheel. This is a blind wheel, which is also where the gears are. And then this one has a rubber tire on it. So since I want all flanged wheels, that means there's only 1 wheel available. So I have to buy 3 locomotives to replace these 2 for this. So I am on the lookout for how to get drivers without basically disassembling locomotives. Especially since there's and 2 is no longer in business, so every every one I'm disassembling. Means that there's, oops, for one locomotive I'm making, I'm taking, I'm taking 2 out. Well, I am sort of kind of thinking that it's a little hard to do when I'm right now aiming for June 1876. But I am thinking, I did last year buy a Christmas tree. I believe it's by Fowler. And of course, at this particular time, I have no clue where I put it. I was thinking of doing a one of Mini Prince peanut butter cup or peanut butter top. What's it called? Peanut butter top challenge with the Christmas tree and so, along with some other things. Let's move this down just a bit. Not too much. There we go. Okay, now I got the side rods off. Now, made the assumption that I had everything all in one spot, and again, I'm incorrect. That's over all cutting stuff. Doubt I have something that small. Will that work? Yes, that will work. Oh, wait a second. Why is this in? All right. It doesn't belong in there, but I found it. Now, the interesting thing is with this red, white, and blue one is I bought one years ago, and it was for the first time I bought a locomotive with my own money. It was at Kmart for $10, brand new locomotive. I think I still have the tender somewhere. But the locomotive itself, for some odd reason, it was long gone. Got that out of the way. That over there. So it's the wheel set that way. Yes, absolutely, Dan. I completely agree. Oh, that's interesting. This looks like this was originally designed to have the brass bushings, but it was like rebuilt to not have the brass bushings. Cost-cutting measures and all that fun stuff. But put this back together to keep the parts together for now. Yeah, I think I'm spending a bunch of time just disassembling these locomotives and turning them into parts. Yep, absolutely, Andy. And I think that's the reason why I picked this one, because this one, I believe, has that those brass inserts. Let's take this apart to show you if that is correct or not. Now, the interesting thing is I've not been able, this locomotive was originally built, from what I understand, for a TV show called Petticoat Junction. And the real interesting thing is that the train on the set, or the train for the locomotive and all that, it had yeah, see, these have the brass inserts on everything, and that's why I picked that one for the conversion. It's interesting that even though they took the brass bearings out of this, for this one they also added an extra. Wound up adding an extra screw, and they took off the mantua. Well, this might have been Tycho by this time. Yes, it's a vintage 19th century. However, just like Back to the Future, it's a little off date. From what I understand, this Sierra was built, I almost want to say 1890 something. Because someone did point out that in Back to the Future, it was, the locomotive, quote, hadn't been built yet. And that was in 1885. I'm doing 1876, so it's one of those things of, it was not not built yet for Back to the Future, so it definitely wasn't built when I had been doing it. Also, there's also a bunch of 1891 by Rogers. The which, if I remember correctly, was also I believe the Rogers also built the 119 also. Yeah, it's only a movie. There's a lot of things that it's like going like, that's not how a steam locomotive works. Things like, it had a a knuckle coupler, which I don't. Knuckle couplers weren't quite a thing at that time. Air pumps were, because in 1876, electricity wasn't a thing yet, but they did have air brakes. So that's why sometimes you see something with a very long pilot on the front end, link and pin, but still have pretty much like runaway train. Um, and so that's one thing I have to do with all these is to take off the dynamo, which is on a conical portion of it. Another thing I have to modify is the headlight, because the model itself, from what I understand, is 176 or 00 scale. So get an HO scale headlight, and also need to trim down, not only trim down the cab, but also rebuild it so it's wooden. And that's some of the modifications I have to do with that. Also, probably have to take the tender and also shorten it. Also get new trucks for it, because again, this is 00 scale, not HO scale. So I'm thinking about getting LaBelle HO scale trucks, because they come in 3 pieces. And I can turn around and make a new bolster, which is wider, so it could take up the wheels for that. Alan Hale Jr. Oh, so you watched Casey Jones then? Yeah. Yep. The Sierra number 3 is, I believe, in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most filmed locomotive, because not only was on Casey Jones, but also Petticoat Junction, which then there was also Back to the Future 3. That was, I think, the last one it was in. I could be completely wrong on that. Then I'm trying to think what else is there. Yeah, I think there was in a couple of scenes of Wild Wild West. Yeah, definitely made an impression. I'm trying to think exactly how I got into trains. Pretty much model trains was a holiday thing for the longest time. I didn't watch Petticoat Junction until I saw it on YouTube. I do remember growing up watching Green Acres, which was running at the same time, but I was not didn't watch Petticoat Junction for the train. Okay, gotcha. I didn't quite see the whole thing at first because of the heart sign that's in the way. The thing is, in my opinion, they should have it up here, because then you can actually read everything. Yeah, there was a short time that I did a deep dive into Petticoat Junction, and the uncle apparently was in every single episode, and he was the only person to be in every single episode. And I think the youngest daughter also wound up being the longest run actress to be on that. I can't think of her name, but I guess there were at least 3 middle daughters, and then there's also 2 older daughters. Now I know there's the Titfield Thunderbolt, but I'm also kind of curious of what other railroad themes besides that and Thomas the Tank Engine. I'm assuming there's more than there's other railroad themed shows that are there. Well, hello there, Kyle. Thank you for coming in. Ooh, actually, looking at the clock, it looks like actually time to probably wind things up. Babbling on a lot of things. Oh, Mr. Porter. Okay. Assuming that there's something on YouTube for it. Of course, looking at all the British stuff and all that probably might confuse the algorithm. It's like, I'm like, wait a second. He says he's in America. Why, Alright. Get my new puller out. So probably, it's way old. Black and white or in color? I'm half tempted to get one of these 1776 ones in much better condition, just to say I have one. This was missing a stack, bell. There's other things that are not quite right with it. Again, I was planning on using it for parts, but Ivor the engine. Okay, I actually I remember something. Someone was doing of animated trains and all that, and that did come up. Trying to think now. One thing is Chuggington. I was surprised to find out that was British. I thought that, the way how silly that is, how Chuggington is. I thought that was trying to be an American ripoff. It's like, no, it's also British. But yeah, it looks like it's time to switch over. Ugh. All right, let's switch cameras. Ta-da! All right. Da-da-da. So, all right. Let's see if I can scroll up and find out who. All right, Iron Horse for us. Let's go that way. Okay. So, yeah, James put in the link for today's Sidetrack Sunday. Might have to scroll up a little bit to click on it, unless James wants to throw it in again. There's a stop motion cheerleader called Chinley. Ooh, Ivor the engine set in Wales, and a dragon living in his firebox. Well, it's one of those things he doesn't have to worry. Doesn't have to worry about running out of steam, unless All right. Thank you, Andy. Let's see. All right. Thank you, Kyle. And I might pop over just to, see what's going on and all that. But since I have a 12-hour shift tomorrow, I probably shouldn't be staying up too much. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight. So everyone have yourself a Merry Christmas. Drink responsible. Dragon called Idris. Yeah, it's one of those things of, if I get in the mood, or maybe I'll, figure, look into it. Right now I'm too tired. But yeah, I think that'll be it for this evening. I'll probably over at Iron Horse for a very short time. Cheers, everyone. And thank you, Randall. It's there's times that I happen to realize that I'm not professional because it's like get sidetracked. But it's I want to say this is more. Originally, it was like, oh, I'm going to be a YouTuber, this, that, and etc. But then I was unemployed at the time. I got employed, so I never really did all the YouTube things. Now I'm using it as sort of like therapy, mainly because I moved to Vermont just before the pandemic hit, so there's a lot of times it's like, hey, what do you guys do for fun here? It's like, well, we used to do this, we used to do that, because they canceled everything. Now I'm trying to find, now that they're reopening up everything, trying to find things that people do together. But now second shift, that throws another wrench into the works. So, well, I hope yes, hit the like and subscribe, and share the video. I might be doing something on Tuesday. Depends on when I wake up. I am planning on doing something on Tuesday night, but that's not on YouTube. I'm not sure if I'll be doing something on Christmas itself. I know there's a couple other people that are doing live streams, but I might pop in and do something. But I know Sparky is doing something, but I'm not sure what kind. So, but I would have to say, yeah, definitely puts a damper on things, because that, if you're wondering why I've disappeared for the midday streams and all that, that's the reason why. 12 midday. All right. Thank you, Dandy. But all right, I'll see everyone over at Iron Horse for a short period of time. And I think the world needs more love. So find your passion, and add some silliness to it, and spread it around. Bye.